Hi, this is Braden Holtby.
Hey, this is Tanner the Bulldozer Bozer.
Hi, this is Brian Burke from Toronto, Ontario.
This is Daryl Sutter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carly Agro from Sportsnet Central.
This is Jay Onright.
This is Quick Dick coming to you from Tofnell, Saskatchewan.
Hey, everybody. My name is Theo Fleury.
This is Kelly Rudy.
This is Corey Cross.
This is Wade Redden.
This is Jordan Tutu.
My name is Jim Pattison.
Hey, it's Ron McLean, Hockey Night in Canada and Rogers Hometown Hockey, and welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. We got a great one on tap for you today. But before we get there, let's get to today's sponsors. HSI Group just found out they were nominated for Small Business of the Year, so congratulations, guys. They are the local oil field burners and combustion experts that can help make sure you have a compliant system working for you. The team also offers security, surveillance, and automation products for residential, commercial, livestock, and agricultural applications. They use technology to give you peace of mind so you can focus on the things that truly matter. Stop in at 3902 52nd Street or give Brody or Kim a call at 306-825-6310. Welcome aboard, Clint and team over at Trophy Gallery. Now, whether you're looking for championship belts, custom medals, die-cast signage, name tags, engraving on Yetis and Brewmates, business awards, crystal, glass, you name it, they got it in there. And did I mention they got some sports memorabilia, signed Oilers, Ethan Bear, Leon Draisaitl, the Battle of Alberta where Cassian's thumping on Tkachuk. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. The championship belts, I got to put a side note here. I was in visiting Clint there the other day, and the championship belts, let me tell you, they are something else. Might have to find a way to get an SNP one done up because they are sharp. Here's a cool thing I didn't know about Trophy Gallery. They ship Canadian-wide. So you go to trophygallery.ca. They got over 5,000 products. They fast shipping. And how cool is this? If you use promo code, that's right, Newman, you get 15% off. Hey, I got a promo code, folks. Clay Smiley and Prophet River. Prophet River is a retailer of firearms, optics, accessories serving all of Canada. They specialize in importing firearms from the United States, hard-to-find calibers, rare firearms, special editions. Check them out at profitriver.com. Foremost, they offer smooth wall grain bins, hopper bottoms, and fuel tanks. They're in stock and manufactured locally. They want to ensure you know that they are constructed of the highest quality and engineered for a long life. Delivery is free within 300 kilometers of Lloydminster. You can buy them at any of their co-op locations, Lloydminster, Lashburn, or Neilburg. For more information, you can check them out on their website, foremost.ca. Lauren over at Art and Soul, the lady who I'm going to speak about hockey jerseys here for 2 seconds, makes your jerseys put into a frame look superb. And, we got a guy on today, Mr. Dube, who coaches a local team here in town, and she does a ton of framing of the Bobcats jerseys. They look unbelievable. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a jersey or a photo or an artwork. You name it, she's framed it. She's open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Stop in and visit Lauren. She's fantastic. She will get you hooked up, or give her a call, 780-808-6313. Her address is 5016 39th Street. It's more than just a frame. It's a story. Gartner Management is your Lloydminster-based company specializing in all types of rental properties to help meet your needs. Whether you're looking for a small office or a 6,000-square-foot commercial space, give Mr. Wade Gartner a call today, 780-808-5025. SMP Billboard, shout out to Deanna Wanler and Reed Wright team for making me look fantastic. And if you're in any of these businesses, you make sure you let them know you heard about them on the podcast. And if you're interested in advertising on the show, visit SeanNewmanPodcast.com. Top right corner, hit the little contact button, send me your information and just what you're looking for. We've got lots of different options, and I want to find something that can work for the both of us. Now, let's get on to that T-Bar 1 tale of the tape. Originally from Lampman, Saskatchewan, he was the assistant coach for the Minot Minotaurs for 4 seasons, 2013 through 2017. He then took a position as the assistant coach of the Camrose Kodiaks for 2 seasons, 2017 through 2019. He was hired by the Lloydminster Bobcats partway through the 2018-19 season and is currently entering his 3rd season with the Bobcats as the head coach and GM. I'm talking about Nigel Dube. So buckle up, because here we go.
This is Nigel Dube, head coach and GM of the Lloydminster Bobcats. Welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the Sean Newman podcast. Tonight, I'm joined by the head coach and GM of the Lloydminster Bobcats, Mr. Nigel Dube. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, well, you realize we were just talking about this. You were episode 31. We did it out of the Power Center, and that was last August 28th, 2019.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a...
It's been a while, and it's it seems like multiple years ago, if anything, and now we're here. So it's only been just over a year, but it seems like a lot more.
You know, I went back through that episode today, and I was listening to it, and I had to chuckle. So did you pull out your Saved by the Bell DVDs during COVID?
No, I didn't. I got into a little bit of Netflix, though, and watched a lot of the documentaries on different sports and different teams, actually, and I'm working through the F1 right now, but got back into video games a little bit.
What was your go-to?
I'm a old school to dirt track racing, which we talked about a year ago. Yeah, Tony Stewart came out with one, so it was a way for me to connect with my brother and
what system?
Well, it's PS4. Really.
PS4, yeah. You realize they're bringing out PS5?
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy. I went in there and stared at the price tag, but I figured I'll use it for COVID, and then now that the season rolled around, I'll put it back.
Oh, you went and bought a PS4?
Bought a PS4, so went all out. It was one of those where evenings and stuff, and needed to do something to keep the mind busy, and worked on setting up a race car online, which is a lot different. And then I got into a little bit of farm simulating, That lasted
into farm
simulating, but that lasted about maybe a week. What seemed like a month lasted a week, and then we were on to different things other than playing. So I got a PS4 for the boys at the Players Lounge now, and they can play on it.
Farm simulating. That's a new one.
Yeah, well, it's I was pretty cheap, so I went with the $5 version. That was in 2017 or something. I don't know what it was. So
don't feel bad. I think I got the little boy Shay. He's 4 now, and he's learned that we can play hockey. And I've got him. I don't have the latest EA Sports game. I don't know what it is. 2015 maybe. I don't know, something like that. McDavid's on the game. That's all you need to know. And we play that every once in a while. But, I mean, other than that, I don't play a whole lot of PS4. But, I mean, like I say, they're bringing out PS5, and that's coming out, I think, this year. Some techie's yelling at the mic or the stereo right now going, you don't even know when the PS5's coming out. But, I mean, COVID has been an interesting ride. I can just imagine for hockey. I mean, this has been unprecedented. But, I mean, you're going into year, what are we calling this, year 2.5?
Yeah, well, for me, last year was a full year, and you're going in, and we didn't make the playoffs last year, and we knew we were being done, and some of those teams in our league that, had built for those 4 or 5 years, and for everything to be shut down like that, was a little bit, it's got to be hard on them, there's no doubt about that. And then you move into COVID. I was actually down at the Minnesota State tournament, right when it kind of all
broke loose.
So I was set to go from Minneapolis to Toronto to get out into Ontario recruiting wise, and then work back to Manitoba, then get back home. And before lockdown all happened, I ended up flying back to Regina. My old man drove me to my vehicle in Saskatoon. I drove back to Lloyd before any of the quarantine stuff was in play, and boom, it was like got back, and it's like anything when time flies, and it was like just like that, everything was shut down, and it's like, all right, is this gonna last, a day, a week? What is this? Nobody knew, and here we are. 7 months later, trying to get things back going again.
And how's that been going?
It's been a process for us. Usually, again, you talk about all teams, whether hockey teams, baseball teams, when you're recruiting, you get out and you go see players, and you're part of that. And from where we were, if we would have been this way like a year ago or more when we first took over and started rebuilding everything, it would have been a different world. But we had a really good core of guys coming back, so we were just looking to build onto those pieces, which made it a lot different. But we joke about the PlayStations and stuff, and the technology is advanced. So much recruiting was done watching film. We would watch film, and then we'd get our scouting staff on Zoom calls, and we'd go over everything, some late nights of what we're looking to do. And then you're trying to get a player out from this area or that area, and then all of a sudden now, we still have one player that we're looking at its timelines. Like, hey, if this place starts first, the player wants to go there. If this place starts, they want to go there. And like, I've never experienced that. I don't think anybody has. And it's just one of those that we're here now. We're practicing and pursuing to get going sooner than later as a league too as well.
That's probably, I have it marked here, all the negative that's come out of COVID is rearranging how we're going to do things for probably the next 50 years. I suppose in a hockey world sense, you're probably going to watch a ton more film moving forward, and there's going to be right now there's no foreseeable future of that changing.
Well, and you look at it, we're on the Hockey TV hub from our league, and now we got the 18s and the 16s in Alberta looking to go to, similar in the same style where everything's online and you can watch their games. And you used to get all these emails, the spam emails and stuff filling up your thing, and now it's all technology stuff of, hey, you send us this, we can send you, this film from these leagues. This is what we offer, and just everything's there. And it's definitely progressed in many ways of that. We went back on old game tape. We went back on, now that we're doing these Zoom calls with our scouting staff, it's going to be a regular thing for us. It's not going to just be a COVID thing. Well, now, it might be a Wednesday night where everybody jumps on a Zoom call, and we got the whiteboards and all that stuff at my home office now, and even just different ways of pulling up lists on computers and stuff. So we've changed all that. We went down, went back, and all of our lists recreated. Andrew and Brady, our staff there, did a great job of breaking that all down. And now it's just a matter too of maintaining that moving forward.
And wouldn't you love to have had some shares in Zoom stuff?
Oh man, some of the stuff, that and hand sanitizer, it's just those things that we joke about a little bit, because I think you have to joke about it or else you cry about it. Is today at the office, and Mallory, who works at our front office, and you just grab a squeeze of hand sanitizer when you walk by it every time, and you don't think anything of it. And she commented today, she's like, we're just putting this stuff on every time we walk by it. We hadn't even touched anything, hadn't really moved, just another squirt boom on it. So, but somebody's probably doing somewhere doing really good with shares and whatnot with what they were on.
Well, I wonder how many warehouses just fired up creating batches of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, well, you look at Fourth Meridian here, right? They turned a brewery into a hand sanitizer when it was needed, which, again, small town. I always say small town Lloydminster. I think it's a smaller city and a real small town feel, and they're pumping it out because nobody else can make it, and supporting the local places for sure.
Before we go back to the Bobcats, I got to ask, did you watch the NHL playoffs?
I watched, I watched some. I didn't. I had a tough time getting into it without the fans. I really did. We cut film from last night's game, 2 nights ago game for Monday night's Stanley Cup final for video for our guys. And I said to our guys, like, from a coaching standpoint, you always watch to see what's going on, and we break it down. And we got a couple clips out of that game that we were working on, and just to show that, hey, this is at that level too, right? But you go back and they show all the videos of like previous years and the energy in the rink and all that stuff. And to me, that's what gets me jacked up, is like when you have that following. And credit to them, because everybody watched some of them, and it gave us something to do, and sports was back. But just it almost made you miss that atmosphere of the place, the roof being blown off the place and the cheering going on.
Could it have been the Nashville Predators not going too far?
Yeah, well, that one hurt too. that one definitely hurt. Yeah, obviously a roller coaster year there for them, and then they didn't really have anything at all come down the stretch.
Well,
so.
I say I was gung ho for hockey to come. Heck, we were gung ho for anything to come back at one point, right? Like, you had literally nothing.
Yeah.
But as soon as the Oilers lost out, I can tease you about Nashville, but the Oilers didn't do any better. It's almost like the sun's staying up all night, right? It's nighttime, and and it should be dark, right? Like that's the body feels. It's the end of September and we got the Stanley Cup being handed out, or August, right? Like August, September. And just, this part of the country, I can't speak for all parts of the country, but like we only get such a short window of beautiful weather where you can be outside and go do things and go to the lake and, enjoy outside. And then you get playoff hockey and it's like your body is like torn. Like, do I go watch a hockey game? Or do I go, one of the best days I had was I pulled the TV out, put it on the deck, used the PS4, and live streamed it. And that's when they were playing, 5 games in a day? That was pretty cool. But the rest of the time, being locked in the house and trying to watch hockey, I struggled with it.
Yeah, well, I had the summer project, or the COVID project, as you call whatever you got done during the time. I redid my backyard, so I don't landscape my backyard. And we'll give a shout out to Kiva Concrete on the concrete pad that he poured for me. But I did the same thing. I set it up, and the neighbors probably thought I was crazy. But
Mr. Weeb was supposed to be here tonight,
yeah.
But he dipped and dodged. So harass him when you see him, folks.
Yeah, Weber's, he's an awesome dude. So, but no, I got into it there, and same thing, sit on the deck and watch it, and then you're kind of like, this is. You talk about all the surreal moments that we had through COVID, and like, is this really happening? And that was one of them too. Just sitting there, and we got some warm days there, and it was enjoyable.
I hate to pick on the Tampa Bay Lightning or the NHL for that matter, but I've been having this argument all day long. It started at work, it continued after work, and it just seems everywhere I go, I see it on Twitter now. They've been talking and I mean social media, that this was the most difficult cup to win because of the social isolation. And to save you what I think about it, I think that it is not the most difficult cup. Although I will put the only thing I can't argue about is me having family. Is if I was away from my kids for that long and my wife, that'd be extremely difficult. But I don't think compared to hockey in maybe the 90s, where it was rough, tumble, beat the crap out of each other, and travel all over the place. When you compare the two hockey sets, I don't know if I feel like the older would be the more difficult.
Yeah, I would think that the atmosphere definitely was probably harder on them. And, just following on the social media of some of the families and stuff, and they're having their nighttime reading books to their kids and doing what they had to do. But when you talk hockey, even last night, I can't remember who took the slap shot right at the end of the game. The one timer went off the player, and he kind of stood there to make sure he was okay. And you go back to the 90s and all that, and they definitely probably weren't making sure he was okay. If anything, he was given another one when he was down, right? So that side of it, I do think that they played a lot of hockey in a short time. I guess somebody could break that down for how many games exactly compared to another year. But I think it was more about that you get sucked into one place for a long time, from a coaching staff to all the staff and your support staff, and everybody's probably having your Monday blues a little bit roll around week 3 or 7 or 8.
I guess. But they're staying at the Rolls Royce of hotels, and they got the Rolls Royce of anything they can possibly want. The only knock I can give them, or the only thing I will agree 100% is the social isolation away from families. If you're a young guy, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Oh, it's probably enjoyable.
Probably enjoyable,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you want to go tear up the town? Sure. Do you want fans? Sure. Do you want all these things? Sure. But at the end of the day, you're staying in a fancy hotel that has unlimited resources within, means, I guess. I don't know. I look at that and I go, I don't know what anyone's complaining about. Now, if you got 4 kids and they're 10 and under or 17 and under, that'd be tough, and I get that. But short time span. I think the NHL, and I mean, you guys are in all hockey leagues this year are going to be under the gun moving forward on how you get back playing, but not only playing, how you can make it feasible. Because playing's one thing, but you gotta find a way to make money in order to sustain yourself going forward. And that's probably from the NHL all the way down to the AJ, senior hockey, everything. That's going to be the challenging part moving forward if they don't allow fans and, food and beverage and everything like that. That's going to be extremely difficult. I'm sure you guys are dealing with that already.
Well, and it's one of those too. I think with junior hockey or any hockey, senior hockey, and all that, it does come down to the financial side of it. To continue to move forward, you can't dig yourself into the hole so deep that it just can't get out of it. And it's one of those with not being able to predict the future, and an economy obviously too that's taken a big hit, and you feel for the sponsors that give you everything they have every year to keep junior hockey going, and then to see some of them close their doors for a month or 2 months or whatever it may be, and to slowly get back, it pulls at a guy's heart just to see that, especially in a city like Lloydminster. And I say this like from my bottom of my heart, where you really get a connection. And I can say that since I've been here just over, going on 2.5 years or whatever it is now, is everybody knows everybody, wants to see success in each other, I think. And then you have those small town businesses that are still around that keep junior hockey around. Really, if we didn't have our corporate sponsorship, junior hockey wouldn't. And now you see what keeps you around, the doors closing, and that's tough to see in those March and Aprils when we don't even really have a season to think about then compared to September.
Yeah, it's like, talk about Groundhog Day. It just seems like every day you stroll down the street and somebody else has a for sale sign or closing, and it's tough. You hope. I don't know, man. Can't see. I wish you had a crystal ball. I just wish you could see what was coming. And I know that's not the way it works, but you hope the end is near, or things start to make a turn and things start to, people are making the best of it, right? Like, people are finding the positives in what's going on. They're trying to, but it just seems the longer it drags on, but things are slowly starting to open up. I got to ask, we're talking about corporate sponsorships and that kind of thing. What was, for people who don't know, you guys aren't playing out of the Civic right now. You're playing out of the Kitscoty minor hockey arena. I mean, you've played games. Last year you played a game in Onion Lake. Like, you've played in different spots, but never for a long period of time, and certainly not called at your home rink right now. That has to be a culture shock for the Bobcats. But in general, what were the deciding factors that made you move that way?
Well, there was a lot that went into that decision, and it wasn't one that we just sat there one day and said we're going to do this. But the border city has been unique in a lot of ways, and I think that goes back to when this first started, to the April when things were busy around here with the cases and stuff. And right now with the city of Lloydminster being underneath the Saskatchewan government and following those guidelines, it plays factor into numbers more than anything, and for us, and some of the guidelines and restrictions that they have in place when we started later than the majority of our teams in our league. We started on September 15th. Main camps were able to open August 31st in the AJ. And with that, there was a lot of things happening in Lloyd. School started a little bit later. We had the Husky turnaround going here with a lot of people coming in. And there's just a lot of things happening. And it was one of those, where you don't really know when things are going to get going. That I just said, we're going to start on the 15th. Let's let school get going. We have a lot of billet families with kids. Let's ease that pressure on them of making everything happen on one day. So get that going, and then with the turnaround going, it got busy in town again with people coming in, and then just the number system. So in Saskatchewan right now it's 30 on the ice at a time. In Alberta it's 50. So we needed to make the moves, I think, that would align best with our league, with the Alberta Junior Hockey League, and getting to gameplay. Well, if you put two teams on the ice, you're at 40. And one of the big things is in Saskatchewan, that's 30. So you can't get two teams on there. And then just some of the timeline stuff with the before and after, when you come in, when you can leave, and the numbers, whether it be, there's been some things obviously changed since we've been out there, but the dressing room, the first week we were here, we were in 4 dressing rooms. And you're trying to run a junior hockey team, with 4 different dressing rooms going on. And we just brought our numbers in. We got right to our numbers again. So those things were going on. And the part that, in Alberta, you're allowed 100 spectators. And we've had these 2 scrimmages now out there, and we've sold out both of them. And we can joke about the Riders and how many sellouts they had in a row. The Bobcats are at 2 sellouts in 2020-21. So there are just a lot of things to go there. We've been in constant contact with the city of Lloydminster. They're working tirelessly with the Saskatchewan government to move things, because we're not the only ones affected. When games start up in the future, it's us, it's the 18, 16s, the junior Bs and stuff like that, and the Steeler girls too. So there's a lot of things going on. I give credit to our city though. I think our relationship with junior hockey, the program and the city, and just having those conversations and being able to do that and move forward strengthens that. And also for us, you look at our hockey school that we had in August, there's a lot of kids from the Kitscoty area. So for us, it was a little bit of, we're going to a community that really supports Lloydminster, really supports our program too as well. So if anything, we're going to look at the positives of a little bit of win-win. Today there were some kids in the window watching our practice and just loving it. And the same kids that we had at hockey school knew our guys by name. So it was just a cool connection there.
Well, when else is a small town like that going to get the opportunity of having a junior A club there for at least a little while, right? Like, who knows what the future holds?
Yeah.
I should point out, I don't think anyone would think that you guys did it very abruptly, like all of a sudden, you know what? Today we're moving out to Kitscoty. I think, if anything, and just listening to you talk, I was thinking, coming in here, I'm like, man, it must have been a difficult decision, because everything up for the Bobcats is built around the Civic Center, the Power Center where you guys train everything. Everything's like kind of this nice, Power Center ain't a part of it, but it's close, it's nice and tight. Everybody's living in Lloyd. Like, it just makes sense. I mean, the building, once you get to have numbers, social distancing and everything else, I mean, the building's big. It should be able to hold more people than a small rink. So I don't think anyone thinks it happened brashly or too quickly. I think a lot of people don't realize it's happened, and which surprised me, because for me, and I thought, you mentioned before we started following along about, the different things that have happened in this studio. With the Bobcats, I follow along and see what's going on, and when I heard Kitscoty, I'm like, anything you can look at the good or the bad, and the good is exactly what you're saying for the Kitscoty community. It's pretty cool, a little cherry on top for Kitscoty, right? Like, to have you guys sitting there, have junior A hockey sitting there for whatever time frame it is, that just doesn't happen to small communities very often. And last year in Hillmont, we got to have the hockey day in Saskatchewan, which saw the SJHL come and play. And for a lot of kids out there, sure, they can come to the Civic Center, but to walk down the street and in their local rink where they play, there's these junior guys. That's really cool. And we've talked about that on the last one, idolizing the older guys, being a young guy and idolizing it. You might have just created 15 hockey players, 30 hockey players, just by having it in their community and having access to it.
Well, and one of the things, we go back to August with our hockey school, the easiest thing for us would have been to do is cancel our hockey school. And I just said, we're going to work as hard as we can to have our hockey school, because it's an opportunity for kid, no matter if you're going to be the next Connor McDavid or if you're only going to play hockey for a year. You can come there. It's a lot of individual skill work, and just enjoy hockey, whether you want to try it for the first time or you've only played 10 games a year on whatever different level there is. I truthfully believe in you have to create opportunity for kids, and that's a big part of it. And we went through the ups and downs of the hockey school for 3 weeks, where that's the first time ever we're chasing a jockstrap across the parking lot at the service because it's a windy day outside. We had dressing rooms set upside, and I said, here's 2020 right here, right? Like, we're chasing after it, and things are blowing away, and everything's going on there, and it was a success, and kids loved it, and we had a lot of kids asking to sign up for the next week, and we only allowed 1 week. You can only sign up for 1 week, and we sold out our numbers that we were allowed to have. And when we go back to Kitscoty, when we first chatted, they weren't going to put the ice in until like the middle of October. And then we talked about this and talked about the opportunity, and next thing you know, the ice is going in the next day, and things are getting going. And then I was talking to their scheduler out there, and I said, well, what's it looking like next week in the evening? She goes, we're booked up. And I said, what's that? And she goes, yeah, we're booked up all the way. Like, now we have everything from day one until, the end of the year. All the ices our sessions are booked up, and their bookings are full. So kids are getting out there and being active. And I think that's huge for the mental health side of it, whether you're 8 years old or 13 years old or 20 years old. Our guys, you can tell our guys every day at the junior level are appreciating hockey a lot more than they did a year ago. And I know that we're early, but there's a really good vibe, and you don't complain about the little things. We had nobody make any comments toward, it's an 11-minute drive or anything like that. It was straight, we'll do whatever we have to do. The other part that goes with it is for our league, to move forward in Alberta is us being there. They could say that everybody could play. And when we were here, not everybody could, because we couldn't get 2 teams on the ice. And that was just the reality of what's, what the guidelines are. And we want to follow all those guidelines and be a part of getting everything back going. But it was just one of those pieces that seemed like one piece of a very, very big puzzle.
Well, you're playing in the Alberta Junior Hockey League with a rink on the SAS side. I mean, it's a very unusual problem for any team to have, for any league to have, right? Like, I play in the Sask-Elta Senior League. Believe me, there's some issues going on right now because you got half Alberta, half Saskatchewan. You can imagine the rigmarole that is going on behind the scenes. And that's why this problem isn't just at the junior A level or the NHL level. It's all through everything right now. And it's a very fluid problem in the sense that every week that goes by, things are constantly evolving and changing. And it's, do you guys have a time frame on Kitscoty? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but right now it's just, for now, it's Kitscoty until things change.
Well, yeah, and for us, it's adapting every day. I think that's the big thing, where you just learn to adapt. And we don't have a timeline that we're going to be there. We go back to the crystal ball comment. If we could shake a crystal ball, I think it would ease a lot of people, myself included, because I like my schedule, I like my routine, that if we knew dates. If you could give us a date of this date, we're going to do this, whether it's, get on an airplane again or whatever, take hockey away from it, I think that then people have you feel at ease because you can plan for something, right?
It's weird, COVID has really messed that up for everyone. It's nice to have a schedule and just to okay, this is going to happen, okay. And then even if we're going to go through rough patch, over there on January 1st, this is what's going to happen. And guys, we just got to get through this and this and this. But there's so much unknown. That stupid unknown is just messing up with everybody's schedule and the structure of society. It's a really weird problem to have. And one that, in the last 100 years, they haven't really seen. I don't think anyone's seen it, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's for us too, is we made our schedule for the first month, September 15th, October 15th. This is what it looks like. This is what we think we're going to look like. And then from a coaching standpoint, Brady and I sit there and we go through, okay, this is, you have a seasonal plan as a coach. This is where we want to get to by the end of the year. This is how it's going to work. Well, it's 2020. So this is what we're going to do for the first month. We're going to break it down. We got into these scrimmages right now. Our scrimmage on Saturday, I said to our guys after, I was proud of them. Like, you wouldn't have been able to tell, even from a coach, I got really into it, that it was the same team broke into 2 teams playing a scrimmage.
How many guys you got right now?
We're at 24.
24. So you went 12 on 12.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of reps. We played 15-minute stop time periods. When you're 2 lines plus.
Boys enjoyed that, I bet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ice time.
Yeah, well, nobody could complain about ice time, right? But we had the scrums after the whistles, and we had that where, guys are getting into it, and there's a little John back and forth at the benches, and the emotion was through it. Both games have went to overtime. and it's been fun. The first game we did a theme, so we had the Hawaiian team that they dressed up in their Hawaiian stuff, and to add that piece into it, you're working on team building all the time, and then Saturday morning, it was man, I was jacked up. I lost in overtime to Brady, so it felt like a loss. It felt like a loss, and it's like, you know what? That's the first time in 7 months that we've had that game feel, and for our guys, we're going to do it again Friday night, and our guys are looking forward to it, which is pretty cool.
Not to I don't mean this, Kitscoty. I'm not trying to make fun of you. But what did 100 fans in there feel like?
Well, it was. For us, it was just people there. You could see people because you watch a lot of this on TV.
We were just talking about the NHL. It looks like a video game. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Or, nobody in the bottom bowl.
Well, and BC's playing their preseason now, so we, checking in on those games and stuff, and the same thing. You got Penticton's rink that holds like 5,000 people, and there's nobody in it. But Kitscoty, you know what the number one question is for Kitscoty is, have you had a Kitscoty burger? And the burgers aren't on the grill, but that's like, have you had the burger yet? And I'm like, I don't think they're grilling burgers yet, but it's like, you got to try the burger. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure the burgers aren't being cooked, but everybody wants a Kitscoty burger. So that's kind of funny when we get out there. But we've taken every measure to the full here. We're mask mandatory. And the other part when it comes to
mask mandatory, meaning that anyone who buys a ticket has to wear a mask coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, so you walk through the doors, it's mask mandatory right away. Hand sanitizer gets put in your hand. We sanitize everybody, social distance with markers on the floor. And then in the stands is just a separation. And that's one thing. You can tell that people will do whatever it takes right now to enjoy sports, because there's not a question. I have to wear a mask. Nobody questions that. Kitscoty is a little bit of a colder rink. It's a little bit of a cooler rink than we're used to. So, talking to some people in the lobby and they're going to go out there. It was just warm up start, like the full warm up, which usually you see everybody trickle in, at the end of warm up, and people are out sitting there watching the game from the start of warm up. And it was just like, it was their first game back, and they were just excited. And that's cool to see. I think that energy adds to it. There's a little bit of cheering with 100 people in Kitscoty. The noise bounces off the roof a little bit, so it sounds like there's a few more there. But those moments, and I think for our guys to play in front of some people
was nice. Yeah, it was a nice treat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, you talk about people, I think seeing live sports again would be lovely. I've watched enough. Well, Blue Jays played tonight. Did you watch Blue Jays?
I haven't watched the Blue Jays. I followed some of the stuff on Twitter on their ups and their downs.
Game one of the wild card series, I think is what they're calling it. Wild, something like that. They lost 3-1. Oh. But it was good. You know what? It feels like going back to the sunlight at night. Like right now, it feels like baseball playoff.
Yeah.
And heck, I had it going for the kids. It was good. Blue Jays lost 3-1, which sucked. But maybe they'll get a crack at her. Best of 3 to kick it off. It's exciting for that. I mean, what is if you can get through this development season. So actually, first with the development season that's going on right now, that allows you to participate as a team and do these games and have a few fans in the stands, that kind of thing. So your plan is to run, obviously you said this coming Friday, another game out at Kitscoty?
Yeah, so the development season opportunity for us, like lots of our guys got into, having trainers and having all these ice sessions in the summer that typically as soon as tryouts start in that midpoint of August, that ice goes back to minor hockey, or that ice goes back to elite group. So our players, if we didn't start development season, would be left right now with either trying to pick up ice. You look at all these different places where some people are skating at 11 o'clock at night just to get on the ice kind of thing. So it gives us an opportunity to bring our guys in, start off with a full development season as far as practices, workouts, all that. We're fortunate in what we did in the past here to have that where we have our own gym. So our cohort stays together the whole time. We haven't changed our cohort at all, and we stay there. So we still get to do all those things. And then the other part too is that when the league tells us that we can go and play games against each other, we're ready to go. It's not like, okay, well now we need to start. We're ready to go. And I think that's a big part of it. So, we've changed some of it on our end. We added a little more time to our practices every day. And then we're doing a lot. You talk about technology again. Everything for us is recorded. So it's practice are recorded, skill sessions are recorded. We sat our guys down in front of the camera. They had to introduce themselves that we're going to send off player profiles to different schools and submit a clip. The cool part about seeing that one was the big life lesson. We had some guys sit in front of a camera and they started off with, "Hi, my name is," and by the time they got to the 15th word, they were just froze, right? First time in front of a camera. Joked, a couple of them got up to, I think if we had the clicker there and we could say take 60, take 61, take 72, but they got it there, and that's a huge life lesson I think that guys need to have. So we've put a lot into our technology, created that. Our first 2 scrimmages are up on YouTube. Just whatever we could do to get our guys out there and promote our guys. We want our guys to be ready. I think we got some guys here that are going to do big things and be NCAA guys, and it was an opportunity for us to bring in, compete against junior hockey players, and send off those portfolios.
Before we hop on to the team, what did you think of a former AJHL guy winning the Calder trophy?
Well, it's cool to see all that kind of different, where guys come from throughout the whole, through the playoffs. And I think we go back to everything and everything online is the profiles that were done. Like you look at the Holtby profile that was done at the start of it, I think it was a couple minutes long or whatever. Those are the things that give me the chills when it goes back to, what they've done and where they've come from than anything. And also I think where our league is, Cale Makar is a special hockey player, and to say that he played in the Alberta Junior Hockey League for us has been a great recruiting tool, and he didn't even play for us. So credit to Pappy for having him, but credit to the league for being a part of it. But
it's unbelievable that kid played in junior A hockey, just junior A hockey in general, and stepped into the NHL and has had such an impact. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's a credit. It's a credit to the, like you say, junior hockey, to the league, everything. Like it's impressive.
Yeah, well, and I remember listening to the interview you did with Pappy there, and he talked about that nobody remembers what Cale Makar was when he first started in the league, right? And where they started with him. And I think, again, for him to perform and get to where he was probably playing against players that pushed him, whether it was in their own dressing room or whether it was across the league. And the 15 other teams, those guys all had a piece in helping that out and pushing him every night, because I'm sure he probably had a pretty big target on him no matter the rink he went into.
Oh, guaranteed. But when he stepped on the ice for the Avalanche, I think it was like his first or second game, and was doing what he did in junior, but at the NHL level, the same speed, and it felt like no fear. It's like, That's special, right? To jump into the highest level and still stick out, that's impressive.
And night after night,
yeah.
Night after night. It wasn't one. He had so much pressure on him, I think, because the question was out, right? Can he do it? Can he do it? The good part about hockey is now there's going to be an off season. Everybody's going to say, "Can he do it again?"
Speaking of the season, has there been any inclination of what it could look like? I know there's been different things maybe kind of talked about, but you're kind of, you are in the know. Not that that means, we talk about the crystal ball and whether or not that actually means anything. If things change, it's going to change. But do you got a feel for what maybe fans can expect as far as league play goes, a timeline, any ideas, any darts thrown out there of kind of maybe hopefully this is where it's going to be?
Well, I think the league and speaking with them, there's some initiatives to get the preseason going here pretty soon. And I think that's the first step is just to get that going. And, and I give credit to the head office in our league. It can't be an easy place. The phone calls, you get 15 GMs calling in, and some of those are the coaches, and then you got 15 probably governors calling in and what's going on. So, Ryan, Charlotte, and Fran have done a great job in that the whole time. But from a game standpoint, I do like our approach that the league took. We didn't announce. You look around, there's other teams that said, okay, December 1st, we're going to start. So this is what we're going to do December 1st. I like where our league's at. We have everything in place for when we're told to start, we can start. And that's the big thing. And I think that was a part of getting the development season going. If they told us next week we can go, well, then we're going. If they tell us it's in 2 weeks, we're ready to go. What that looks like once we get started, I think following and I've been following every league so close. Like you look at Manitoba right now, they completely redid their schedule from what it originally was. So I think it's just, doing what you have to do within the framework that they give us. And that's, again, back to the league on what. But, I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to start playing some games.
And played out of the Kitscoty Arena.
We'll see what happens. I give credit to our office staff, the AJ. I give credit to, our city staff. I think I met more.
I like putting you to the fire.
Yeah, met more. Well, it's been somebody. My phone rang today, and somebody said, "You must like your phone." I said, "Well, this is what it all does. It just rings over and over." I think it's ringed 4 times in my pocket here since we've been sitting here. But talk to the league. We have a board for our team here. Talk to the board. And then it's one of those where we talk to the city and, the email exchange, the Zoom calls, the socially distanced meetings that give credit to the city, because I know I remember listening to Mayor Albert's talk, early on in this whole deal when he said that the border city's always been unique, but it's definitely highlighted by what's going on around us right now. So they're working tirelessly. Probably there's some days that they're like, Nigel's calling again. No different with the league, I think. And there's a lot of phone calls happening. But, there's been meetings, and then there's no meetings, and there's meetings. So the mental capacity side of this whole thing is you really learn how to kind of relax the stressors. And when you need to do things, it's one of those, it's like, hey, we got to do this. It's like, okay, let's make a plan. Here it is. Here's our timeline. Let's do it. If they told us tomorrow that, Kitscoty, they're booked up all day, well, then we got to figure out what else we're going to do. A few years back in my career, I probably wouldn't have been able to just been not a relaxed, but a, composed decision on that. I think everything was, but now it's just like, okay, this is what we're given. We've had some, the one day the rink flooded during our hockey school. Walked in, we had that big rain in the morning, walked in, and half the ice was covered in rainwater. And I said, all right, well, what do we got to do? And Wes and I got on squeegees, and Don got on the Zamboni, and we missed 7 minutes of our ice time. We had it all. I was in flip-flops. My feet were a little chilly by the end. But it's just like, well, what do we have to do to make it work, right? And you're just showing people come together again, and everybody just, you chip in where you can chip in, and here we go.
Well, first episode, we talked about you fixing the earmuffs for the kids. You were fixing the shitter on the bus, yeah. Right? You're that guy. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that you pulled out the squeegee and figured out a way to get it done and carry on with life.
Yeah.
And that's, you talk about running the hockey school, and what I enjoy about it is, you're right, you could have just been like, throw your hands up when this will never work, and nope, we're not doing it. We're not going to do the headaches. But if you find a way to trudge on and find a way to get through the loopholes, and this is how we can make it work. You've already said it a couple times, right? Your hockey school is sold out. Your game's out in Kitscoty. It's only 100 people, but only 10 could show up, but it's selling out. And so that's good. Like that's awesome. I hope for you guys, and I hope for the city of Lloyd that hockey gets back, right? And that the AJ gets to run, and you get to have some home games, and you get to, if it's in Kitscoty or whether it's at the Civic, wherever it is, that people get to come in and enjoy it, because I think we're missing that right now. People need to be out, and that human interaction like we get to do right here is such a huge part of life. Absolutely. And when you all seclude each other, man, that's, the mental game of it. That's huge. Well, that brings me to your team. You got, is it 14 returning guys this year?
Yeah, we're at 14 returning. Compared to a year ago when we sat in this, we were at, I think,
That's right.
2 or 3. So we're at 14. I love our group. I love our group of core guys that we're bringing back. It's one of those that it's been fun, because I think if you ask probably the players 2 months in last year that they were, Nigel's, like, we got to do this, then we got to do that, then we got to do that, and do this, do that. And it's one of those I explained to our leadership group and our guys returning that when you go to change a culture to such a great significance from one year to the next, you have to. Because not only a year ago did we have a whole new team, we had a whole new staff. I never worked with the assistant coach before. I never worked with our athletic therapist before. I never worked with Weber before, other than a short time at the end of the year. We had made changes in the front office too. So we had a whole new team start to finish on every part of it. And to do that, we roll the calendar ahead a year. I got an assistant coach that just gets in the driver's seat and takes control of the hockey school starting there. Then we have, our players come back to be the coaches there. Well, we announce our captain in the first week in September. We didn't have a captain last year. We got into it today. Actually, we got into a drill that the new guys were probably like, what's this? Because I just said Bemidji 2-on-2. And no whiteboard, no nothing. We popped the cones out. Guys got to the front, blew the whistle. Here we go. And last year, everything was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is how we got to do it. This is where you got to stand. This is how you got to mop the floor. This is where the mop goes. Oh, you don't know where that is, right? And it's just like, and everybody was kind of like, oh man, he's a real hard ass. Like, he's a hard ass. But to create that where we are now, it's like, I talked to Gunner.
Well, instead of you being the one guy creating it, you now have 14 return players that can help. You got assistant coach, you got a front office staff. Everybody knows which way to go and, to use your words, where the mop is and where to put it, right?
Yeah.
Like everything. And so for the new guys coming in, it's very comfortable because this is how things are done.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the culture side of it. And credit to our players that are still here with us. And you look at the leadership group, I love those guys. And the thing is that they're pretty young. We still got guys with a couple years left. And, Gunner is a 20-year-old for us, and Schendel's a 20-year-old for us. But, those guys there and the guys around now, it's an exciting group. It's an energetic group. And it's a lot of fun going every day. You're cracking jokes. We're playing hide and seek and doing all that stuff. And the players don't need a GPS to get around town. That's another bonus to it.
What have you been doing? You're telling me a little bit about it, but I know getting the players to gel and team bonding, that kind of thing. I suppose this year has been a little bit unique. What have you guys been doing away from the rink to try and foster some of that?
Well, our guys are really busy in the structure that we do have. As far as team builders, last year we had a 2-day retreat that was awesome. We unfortunately couldn't do that this year. So we were out at Bud Miller tonight. People were probably wondering why some guys are wearing fluorescent. I told everybody yesterday they got to wear their brightest clothes possible. So some guys took the clue, some guys didn't. So we had guys running around Bud Miller with fluorescent yellow on, going through the trees and doing all that. But it's outside, and our guys had a fun time with it. But we have a real busy schedule. I think that you can always a quick 5-minute team builder. We just talk about guys and what they've learned about each other. Having the performance center there, we've done stuff there with groups and just being around. Like, the other part too is, if you look at it, we got 24 players. You put all the staff around, and we're at our 30 cap in Saskatchewan. And that's one thing. Like I said to our guys the first time, you look around right now, this is 30. This is 30 people here. So, we want to make sure we're following all those guidelines. And, different years, we'd send them over to the swimming pool and say, hey, go swimming, go bowling, do those kind of things. And we don't have those team builders. So we're just getting creative after practice, before practice. We do shootout challenges. The first week and a half, everything was broken into 2 teams. So we were able to do it there, and just the small things. And I really like our group. Our group's gelling well. I like where we're at so early, and that's not even the hockey side. That's just the connection side with our players, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see them build as a group, and then especially on the ice too.
I want to single out one of the players, Gunnar, your captain, Kinnenberg.
Yep.
Just shout out to Gunnar if he listens to this. What was it about Gunnar that you wanted to throw a C on? Because you mentioned not having a captain the year prior. What was it about him that sticks out? Not to make his head blow up too high, but for fans listening, what's he bring to the table that leadership, everything else?
Well, I go back to early when I took over here in my first trade deadline, January 10th, and we had Kaiser that ended up, we moved to Sherwood Park. That trade there, I went after Gunnar Kinnenberg, Nolan Coventry, and Chad McLean on the January 10th deal. Just from our recruiting and what we'd heard about those guys and what they'd done on the ice, we wanted to get them into our system. It didn't work out. We couldn't finalize a deal. Just didn't happen to come to. Flash forward to the middle of July, and the next thing you know, we're making a 3-for-3 trade with Fort McMurray. I got McLean, Coventry, and Kinnenberg, and we brought him in. Kinnenberg's experienced. He's going 4 years in the league. He's been around the league. He wants to be a coach. That's a huge part. He's went through the Hockey Alberta development programs on the coaching side for players that are looking to further hockey. He checked a lot of boxes that way. He reminded me of a player, Ryan Wagner, played in Penticton with him. Could have went to any Ivy League school he wanted. Chose to go back and just be a farmer. Took over the family farm. I love Wag, still love chatting with him. And he was just one of those guys. He was never, and the same thing with Gunnar, he wasn't the loudest in the room. He was never the loudest in the room. If he walked in this room right now, it'd be like having a coffee talk with some older fellas and just sitting there, and everything's real. Doesn't butter it up, cares about everybody. Absolutely cares about everything, and very mature. When he does speak, everybody's ears listen, right? And that was a huge part. And I just think those are a lot of pieces that make a really good captain, because players aren't afraid to go up to him and engage in those conversations. And he's not that, standoff, like very aggressive person. And then the support staff around him, the support crew that he's close with everybody, cares so much, whether you're a 16-year-old or the backup goalie, he cares just as much about you. He would do anything for you. And we're talking if he needs to drive down the road to change your tire, to pick you up, to, your girlfriend breaks up with you and you need somebody to go for a coffee, he's there for you. And those things he just demonstrated through the year. And it was always very mature, and just kind of that solid human. And I thought that was what we needed, especially with the experience and moving forward and knowing the group. We went through a lot of leadership last year and bringing guys in, and it was kind of like that test or however you want to look at it. Okay, does he fit? Is he a leader? All right. Is he looking for us to talk to him because he's a leader? Or now we're going to say that we're looking for leaders, so he changes who he was. Gunnar never changed at all. No matter, you could tell him one thing, you could tell him the next, and he's invested in the team. He's invested in his teammates. And I think one of the things that I highlight and we pride ourselves, he's invested in the community. I know his Billet family loves him. He coached with the his Billet brothers team last year. They went to every game Sunday morning. He was there. There's probably days that he was tired and didn't want to, but he was there. And I think those are pieces that just make a really good human, make a really good leader.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I hate to single out one player. I just know you threw the letter on him. And from season past to now, that's something that's new. And for fans that are awaiting and see that news, just significance on the player and why this year you got to see and the story behind it. You mentioned getting community involved. And, last year when we talked, I was very impressed, still impressed, with the amount of community involvement the Bobcats have had under your leadership. It's no knock on anybody previous. There could have been just as much involvement. Just very pronounced with you at the helm. You were mentioning it's interesting right now because you can't go into the schools. Heck, parents can't go into the schools. But you're still trying to find different ways of getting involved. And would you share a couple of the ways or some of the things you guys are trying to do?
Well, we're looking at every way possible, and I truly believe in the community side of things. I know some people have made the comment that we're only in the community because we're losing. We could be 60-0 and we'd be in the community just as much as if we were 0-60. But the big thing is just trying to find ways. I think it's so crucial for our guys, and even going through, we did some surveys with our billets and stuff, and one of the concerns that they had was like they won't have that community piece, right? That there won't be, and I agree with that. Like, it's going to be different. So what we've set up right now, and we're working with Clark over Progressive Fitness, is we're going to do some Zoom fitness. Actually, tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, we're going to do a quick Zoom fitness 12-minute fitness beat. We're not sure what the name is. We're going to get there. But we're just going to set it up, and the school's got a projector onto their big screen in the gym. We're going to set up a computer at Progressive. Our guys are going to go through probably a little bit of a circuit and just get into it. We're looking at different things of doing some reading stuff over a Zoom or whatever we want to call it, some kind of form of technology. We've talked about having the mascot go visit the windows like we seen at the care homes earlier in this. We were out. We shout out to all of our sponsors that helped out with the fun run back in May there. That was huge success for the meal programs at the schools.
That damn thing almost killed me.
Yeah. Didn't you have a rough start in that? You started it and you stopped it?
We ran with the wife, myself, to hop in here. The wife and I ran with our daughter and at the time, what was the fun run? What was that, May?
Yeah, May. Yeah.
So, what do we have? Like a 9-month-old. So we had our daughter and her 9-month-old in the bike stroller. So you can push it. It's like a running stroller. Got to like about 4 blocks away from the house and hit the curb and broke the front wheel on it. So then had to walk all the way back with the 2 wheels. And we had our oldest, the 4-year-old, on his bike. By the time we got back, he's bawling. We've already ran whatever, walked back. Kids are crying, and we're looking at each other. Well, what do we do? And I'm like, well, we're finishing this, buddy. It started. Yeah. So then we load everybody up, and so I pushed the double stroller. So with a 9-month, the 3-year-old, close to 3-year-old, and then our 4-year-old laying in the bottom of it. So I did the math. It was like 100 pounds of human body in there. And I pushed that sucker for the fun run. And by the time I got back, I could hardly move anymore. And COVID didn't help, right? It's not like we've been moving that much anyway. So it was a ton of fun. We had fun doing it.
No, and that was the big thing, was just try and, take people's mind off it. And we didn't care if you went for a block or 2. I remember when you told me that story, though, the difficulties, and I think it was right out of the gate. So that's pretty funny. But, we're working towards that. We did the birthday visits through the summer. I threw on the mascot suit. Sure, let's go do it. The one thing I always appreciate is family, and I got 3 beautiful nieces and nephews, so shout out to them. That the little things, and if there's anything in life that's taught me more, I don't have kids of my own, but the little things that you see when a kid just starts to glow when they see something. And Mallory, our office staff, she came in, drove around, and you see those kids light up. You also see the kids that absolutely get scared, completely scared, and run the other way, which is kind of funny too. But the kids light up, and we did stopped at birthday parties, and we ended up making some signs up and doing different things. And but I think it's really important for our guys to engage in the community part of it, and we're going to continue to work. And I always say, if anybody's got a good idea, we'll always listen. If you want credit for your idea, if you can get us involved in the community in a safe manner, we're always open to those, because we brainstorm. We have our Monday meetings every Monday at the office, and we go through, and it's just like, how can we get better this week, community-wise, business-wise, hockey-wise, engagement-wise, merchandise-wise, everything. We go through it, and it just when you bring that, and then you'll have our staff will be sitting at home watching a commercial. I love it. My phone lights up. It's like, hey, we could look at doing this, and it's like, sure, why not? Let's look into it. And that's where I think we've established that as a staff and as an organization, that you start to see the success with people around. And to go away from the community piece, I got asked the other day, we just brought on Carmen as a salesperson for us, and I got asked, well, how many people applied for it? And I said, well, the one thing since I've been here, we've never opened up an application. We recruit our staff like we recruit our players. It's never been opened up. We brought in a salesperson off of a relationship that is built in the community. We brought in a business manager that was a relationship built from different people knowing that person. And the same thing with assistant coach. So credit to our staff. They've done a fantastic job through all this too. There's some days where, we always do kind of, I show up on every day and I ask them where we're at. Where are we at today, people? 14s, 10s? And that's our personality, that's our energy. And the best part, some people be like, I'll be at a 6 day. I'm at a 10, I'm at a 12. You get an instant feel for where people are at, the energy they're going to bring. And if we need to bring each other up, again, 2020, we learned to bring people up. There's days I need to be brought up. There's days maybe you need to be brought up, and somebody might make a phone call or a call to you, and away we go. So that's way offside story from where we started with the community stuff. But
speaking of, before we head towards the Crude Master Final Five, you mentioned sponsors. If a sponsor out there wants to get involved, likes what they hear, anything like that, what's the best way for them to get in contact? And are you guys looking for anything in particular, or whatever you want to run with there, Nigel?
Yeah, just to call the office. I think that's a starting point. Just to give us a shout or stop by the office if you're out and about. It's a very big office, very open office. So, we follow all the guidelines there too as well, and protocols. We're open to anything, and the big thing with us is we want to work with our sponsors, our partners. We know that everybody is in this together, and if there's a way for us to help, promote or give back or do whatever we can for the people that want to get involved, and maybe it's not getting involved this year, but you just want us to have your name or help you out some way, just give our office a call. 780-871-0900, and we'd be more than happy to have a conversation. Carmen's, reaching out to a lot of businesses in town, and that's a good part, is building those relationships, seeing how people are doing, especially with the partners we've had. We've had some sponsors here that go back way before my time, all the way to, we talked about earlier, the Blazers Day. And again, this city is supports junior hockey. We've seen it multiple times through the stages that it's went, and keeping junior hockey here. So, just reach out to the office would be awesome.
For fans, if they're looking to get tickets or find out of all the latest updates, anything like that, I assume follow your social media would probably be the number one thing. Social media is we have the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then we also, that's a little bit of a hidden gem, is our Bobcat app. We also have a Bobcat. You have a Bobcat app? Yeah. We're working on getting more content that actually. It's one that's been around again. Another one that's kind of been around for years. It just hasn't been really effective. So we're looking to get our app game to the next level. If fans want to buy tickets or find out if tickets are available, I assume you're not. I assume it's not like come to the door and first 100 get in. I assume they're pre-sold. They're all pre-sold. So our scrimmage game on Friday is pre-sold. Is it sold out yet? It's not sold out yet. Admin at Lloydminsterbobcats.com, ADMIN, can reserve your ticket. We do then send out a whole form. So we have the whole tracing. Everybody has to fill out a form. So just to clear this up, so if I'm listening to this Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, whatever day before Friday, and want to get a ticket, I send an email to... you send an email to admin, ADMIN, at Lloydminsterbobcats.com. And they'll email back saying, yeah, there's tickets available? Yep, correct. Okay. Yeah, or else, again, call into the office. But the email works perfect. We get your email, we get your contact, and then Thursday night, so tomorrow night after this, then I actually send out a form. You have to go through a Google form. It's a questionnaire. About COVID questionnaire. What's a ticket worth to the inter-squad games? $10 for general admission, and then any season ticket holder billet, that's just honored from years past. Okay. final one before we move into the Crude Master Final Five is the progressive 50-50 still going on?
It's closed. It's closed off. Yeah, but we're excited. So that's at over $3,700. So somebody's taking home half that. And then
it's closed off.
It's closed off. Yeah, it closed off. So we draw that tomorrow or the next day this week.
Well, crap. I must have read that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The draw, it's got a close off date, so it's online. I think it closed on the 27th, 28th, and then we draw on the 1st.
Oh, so it literally just closed.
Just closed.
Okay.
Just
so
closed.
Maybe fair.
But on that, we're gonna have tickets on sale here starting next week. Actually, I think that we'll have them Friday to go on sale. We're doing November a cash calendar, so $25 a ticket. 30 days in November. Opportunity to win cash every day. So some days are $40, some days are $80. Thursdays.
If
are
I
worth
buy one
$400.
ticket, does it get me into every single day?
You could win all 30 days.
Oh hell. Sign me
Yeah.
up. I got $25 in the truck. You're
Yeah.
getting it before you leave here.
We'll do that. So Thursdays is the big one. It's $400. You can win on every Thursday. I think they have it set up. But it's just like cash back, $25 to get in, and multiple winners. And
Same way to sign up for that. Email admin.
And email admin, and then our players, our board members will all have tickets available for that, making phone calls. So if somebody wants to help sell them and wants a book has 5 in it. If they want to help sell 5 tickets, give us a show at the office. We definitely take the help there.
Okay, cool. Well, let's slide in then to the Crude Master Final Five. I know you've been eagerly waiting to see what concoction I can whip up for you. So the first one is, you've sat down on this show twice, and I know you've done, I believe, you're either doing or have done Kurt Price before in Lloyd. So let's go a little bigger. If you could sit down on one show, what would you want to sit down on?
You know, the show I'd actually like to go on, I like to be a guest on like a panel, like a TSN or a Sports Center, where they get in and break down the periods and stuff. You look at BX and those guys that have got in there, and that might not be a show. But I just like when you can pick
Oh, no, that's Hockey Night in Canada. That's a show.
Hockey brains, where one guy sees. I like it like through the playoffs. Those probably interest me a little bit more than I thought they would. When you got one guy breaking down a play, you look back at the bend, the slew foot, which could be argued either way, and then they get into it a little bit, and then you get to chime in on that. So I just like to sit on one of those and give my 2 cents, whether you take it or not. It's just there.
Kevin BX has got to be the hit breakout of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, in the hockey world, there's probably more of them. But, like, he slides in, has never sat on a panel, to my knowledge, and just knocks it out of the park. And every one, he got a little better and a little better and a little better. And now they might as well just sign him up for the next 25 years. Like, he's that good.
Well, and I think the cool part, because he was what seemed, and they made a few comments about it, was so raw, that it really relaxed the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, you talk about this, you talk about this, you talk about this. The other night, they said something off turn, and then they joked about it, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time that's happened on something like that, right?
Well, the only guy they've had in the last little bit that everybody loves that kind of speaks off the cusp is Brian Burke, but it's almost his persona now. So he's almost no different than Don Cherry. You knew he was going to argue things because that's what was the price of admission, so to speak, right? Like, that's what he was there for. He wasn't there to be the mellow guy. He was there to, and the nice thing about BX is, you're absolutely right, is he just kind of like you can see him look around and then he just kind of like, I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
right?
He's still not there. He still can't. Well, and the same thing with Brian, right? Brian starts sweating when he gets a little bit mad there, and you can see the glow going to him. So those are cool. I like that part of it.
If you could sit down for a beer, or we're drinking a coffee tonight, if you could sit down with one person, who would you take?
Oh, that's a good one. Barry Trotz.
What would you ask him about?
Life. His experiences, and you just go through it, and he's so well spoken all the time, and I think he has a connection with players that's with the game, but I think it's way deeper before it becomes the game. And you look at his family life and all that's been touched on a little bit more. that he's got energy and he's got excitement in areas, and then he's just really well spoken. And the other part too is you listen to podcasts like this and you go through it and you watch these, a lot of coaches' seminars have been online, and it seems like every coach wants to talk to him. Like, it's just one of those, like, it just seems like more coaches want to talk to him. So then that intrigues me, like, well, what does he have that we need, right? Like, when it's a common theme. So that's definitely something that just kind of sparked my interest through 2022.
Yeah, Barry Trotz. When I sat down with, I think it was Tutu. I'm almost not yet, like, I'm 99% sure it was Tutu. He talked about him, and he talks about him in his book too, that he just had a way of understanding his players.
Yeah.
Well, heck, they were fun. The New York Islanders were fun to watch in the playoffs. I wish that, they ran up against probably Tampa Bay's been the best team in the NHL for 3-4 years. Like, I know they haven't won cups, but regular season wise, and even in the playoffs, I know they didn't get by, Pittsburgh the one year, Columbus the other year, but top to bottom, they are a good team.
Well, they worked, right? Like, should they have been there? Should they have not? He goes in there. They haven't had real success in the past.
Islanders have been, not that great. And they get Lou Lamoriello, and then he hires Barry Trotz, and you just go, yeah, that team's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, and you look at even his exchanges with, like, a guy like Ovechkin, that those are real, right? Like, they shake hands after. They're in two different teams. They shake hands, and there's something more than just I was your coach for a bunch of years, right? And those kind of pieces to me, maybe again, it's just I look at those life things more than sometimes just the hockey itself.
Fun one. If you could own a world record in the Guinness Book of World Records, what would you want? And the reason I bring it up is I literally just interviewed an ultra marathon runner.
Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy.
His mental health story is unbelievable. That was what I've been hearing about it all day. Actually, it is just how shocking it is. But or I don't even know if shocking is right. It's just real, I guess, how it is. But like, that's a guy who ran the Moab 240. So 240 miles straight. It took him, like, I forget what it was, like 90 some hours of straight running with, a half an hour here of sleep and a half an hour. Like, my brain hurts just even talking about it, because I'm like, that is some extreme.
Yeah. Well, this is.
But I asked him that, and I thought, I'll give it to Nigel too.
Yeah.
If you could have a world record.
If I could have one, that's a tough question. I don't know. I feel like it's not very exciting though. Like something on the road. Obviously, I do love my dirt track racing. So something like that. But world record. I don't know. Consecutive wins in dirt track racing, winning. A little bit of my family past in the racing, I guess, is to go put on a clinic and set a record that way, because everybody loves winning, and it connects to what I have. But man, I might have to text you in a week or two if I come up with a better one. I might have to do an edit here.
Well, for people who don't know what you're talking about, maybe this is the first time they've heard of you. Go back to episode 31, and you'll hear a lot about Nigel and your journey to Lloydminster. And a big part of your guys' family is the racing, the dirt track racing, which is fascinating. In the last year, COVID aside, did you get to go back and do any racing?
You know what? In this summer, we had one family get together. Our whole family went to my parents in Regina once things were, you kind of could go places and stuff like that a little bit. And my old man, he's getting older, and I think it's fun to watch that. And I talked about that before, is the passion that grows with that. He got a payment car this summer, so we went out. My two brothers and I went out and watched him at Kings Park in Regina. He had some motor trouble, and it was like olden days. Like, we had the water pump off, we put it back on. He went out for a heat race, came back with the water pump off, and my dad sat back, and it was one of those father-son moments that he's like, man, I miss this, right? Like, this is what we did and if he would have been by himself with his pit crew buddy there, they would have just put in the trailer, had a beer, went home for the night. But my brother and I just got like right into it, like hands on. We're wearing Birks and we got antifreeze going down and just stuff like that. So we got back once. It was a lot of fun. It's just a flashback, and again, just appreciate those memories more as you get older.
Well, speaking about vehicles, let's say pie in the sky, you're Barry Trotz, you just signed $1 million deal, and you're heading down to wherever to buy your next vehicle. What is it?
There's two things I would go through. I always have this, and I can go back to when I was probably 13. I want an F-250 truck, load it. So we'll see what Boundary can do for me over there. Just load it. I want it white. I want it nice and clean with chrome. Like some kind of SUV. I probably wouldn't be a Bronco guy.
Here I thought you were going to be like, I want some muscle car or not that.
No.
You want an F-250.
F-250
And a
truck.
white one of all colors?
Keep it simple. I could drive that. Like if you see me driving that around, life's good. Life's good. That's all I need. Like that is all. That and a combine. Somebody wants to take me combining or needs a person. If we got a day off, I will go run somebody's combine. No
Shout out to all the
questions asked.
farmers looking for you want to ingrain yourself in the local community. Go hop on a combine for the day.
You know what? It's a little bit. I actually thought about that. Like, hey, COVID happens. What happens if if we don't have development season, we don't have anything through summer? I was going to put out some feelers to go run somebody. I couldn't jump into the combine because that's like being on the first line of the power play, right? Give me the grain cart or something, or I'll go get meals or something. But I love that small town stuff. So yeah, give me a F-250 and a combine.
Somewhere there's a farmer scrambling right now going, get the number to this guy. He's coming out and he's working the midnight shift.
Yeah, we've got a couple Sundays off if they need a guy.
Your final one is if you were traded. So let's say the hypothetical, you go back to your playing days. If you're traded to whoever and you could bring one guy with you, who would you want coming?
You know what? I would take Brett Hextall with me. Brett, I played with Brett in Penticton, or I'd go back to Wags if I could take two. Brett Hextall was my roommate in Penticton. He went on to have a great career. Obviously, went through and he's got a fantastic family now. But we were roommates, and we could always battle so hard every day against each other. Like just full out. You wouldn't think that we liked each other. Slashing each other, going up the ice, doing all that kind of stuff. Hard on the sleeve kind of guy. I actually ended up got traded to Camrose. Played him, the third game out in Penticton Doyle Cup, and I speared him as hard as I could. And he looked over and he's like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I am." And then, we win the round, and we can joke about it now. But he was one of those guys that, he just. The passion that he had in him. Actually look up a couple of his fights back in the day. Like it just showed that. But at the end of the day, he would do anything for you. Great guy, great family member. And, it's one of those that he's a guy who just take with you because he knows instant, like you talk about captains and stuff like that, instant connection of he has your back, you have his back. Wherever we go, you go into a team that nobody likes you when you get there, you still have the one guy. And you have them. Are you going to win? You think that you breed the success through where you go, but that would be my pick.
Cool. Well, thanks again for hopping in here. It's, probably shouldn't wait a year to do this again. It's funny how the world works and how time just seems to fly by, and COVID has messed a lot of the different things up. We talked about doing this, I think it was back in April, to be honest, and then COVID hit. So thanks for hopping in and doing this, and best of luck here in the foreseeable future, and I hope I get my name picked in your November draws, and that'd be awfully nice.
Yeah, no, awesome, and thanks for having me, and thanks for what you do, Sean. It's awesome to be able to listen to it, and my neighbors, I think they get to listen to it, even though they might not have it. My speaker's loud enough for them to hear, so we appreciate it. Cool content all the time, and just thanks for what you do.
Hey folks, thanks again for joining us today. If you just stumble on the show and like what you hear, please click subscribe. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, a new guest will be sitting down to share their story. The Sean Newman Podcast is available for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you find your podcast fix. Until next time.